It's gotta be illegal to be this ignorant.
What is going on, people? And welcome again on today's episode. If you are joining for the very first time, thank you so much for being here. And for those of you who have been supporting this channel, I see you and I do not take that for granted at all. There is this influencer on TikTok that is currently going viral. She posted a travel vlog to India and she was kind of like putting posts together on some of the activities that she got going on while she was in India. And there was a place where she said that she did a slum tour in Mumbai. I hope I'm pronouncing it well. And she said she did some cooking class as well. Because that was the very part that people are pointing out in the entire vlog that she posted. Like, what makes you think it's okay for you to say you did a slum tour? Like, who asked you for a slum tour? That video literally triggered a lot of people and they started stitching and dropping their few cents on it. Without wasting much time, let me just roll the clip. I have put together what the people are saying because majority of the part of the vlog that they are stitching was the part where she said she did a slum tour and as well a cooking class in Mumbai. And a lot of people are saying slum tour and cooking class should not even be in the same sentence. Like, we can't get past that. Without wasting much time, let's just get right into it.
You are not better than poor people. So, this influencer went to India.
You want. B&B experiences were my favorite tour experiences. I did a slums tour and a cooking class.
Yep, in the same sentence, she said slums tour and cooking class. The poor are not a zoo to go visit. And I want to know, who raised you? Who raised you to think, I'm going to pay money to a tour guide to not only watch poor people, but tell the whole internet that you are so callous, that you went on both a tour of poverty and a place where you get to eat lavishly. I mean, I get it. We live in a colonial state where people like you think much of the global south is quaint and just there to make you feel something. But guess what? One, thankfully you went to only the barest minimum of India. You went to the places where you can get the pictures that will prove that you are a world traveler. India is like a third of the United States. Not every place looks like those slums, first of all. The people who really live there live in places that wouldn't be so different for us than what we live in. Many of the urban centers have people of all different strata. And I only say this because one thing you did was play into every Westerner's stereotype of India. Because, hey, then the vast majority of people won't have to put up with you. But the bigger thing you did was center yourself. It's all about you, isn't it, honey? You are the main character. And somehow you perceive some sort of specialness when it was just an accident of birth. I mean, what did you do to be special? You certainly didn't learn about global politics and how so much of the poverty in India is thanks to both the extraction of resources by the British and the destruction of self-rule by the British. You certainly didn't learn empathy. That's definitely not what makes you special. What is it? What makes you so much more special than those people?
It's gotta be illegal to be this ignorant.
B&B experiences were my favorite tour experiences. I did a slums tour.
Just for context, this woman visited India and one of her favorite tourist attractions was experiencing one of the Mumbai slums. It's hearing privileged people say brain dead, tone deaf, things like that with a straight face that makes me want to go on a Hall of Fame intergenerational crash out. It's like saying I went to Chicago, sat passenger side in a Trackhawk and watched a shootout happen in O-Block. Or that I paid for a needle of a homeless San Francisco native and watched them go through the hippie experience. Real suffering and poverty that people have to live through is not an exhibit or a theater for you to enjoy. Imagine you're seeing two kids scrounging through trash for food and clothing and you're sitting there with your Prada sunglasses and your Birkenstocks and you're thinking, damn, some people in this world got it really bad. I should be more grateful. And then go on to say with your full chest that it was one of the best parts of your trip. Gloating about it online, saying it was so bad, and then by tomorrow's Pilates class, completely forgetting about it. God didn't bless you with this much money to finance your travels. He was probably hoping that this much covered at least half the amount of therapy that you need to figure out what is wrong with you. And I know people like you know just how beautiful places in India like Kerala and Goa are, but you want to paint this narrative. And in that way, you're no different from these lying CS influencers.
B&B experiences were my favorite tour experiences. I did a slums tour and a cooking class in Mumbai.
Excuse me, you did a what tour? Like, first and foremost, why are we just skipping past that and going on to the cooking class? Like, you didn't just say you went on a tour of slums. Second of all, do we not see how incredibly, tone deaf this shit is?
Yeah, my favorite tour was the tour of the slums. I loved looking down on all the people in direct poverty, because I know that that's not me.
Like, congrats, babe. Are you proud of that? Are you proud of essentially treating people like they're in a zoo that you can just pay a little bit of money to onlook them? And you know for a fact that the money she spent on that tour is not going towards lifting those people out of poverty. It's just going into the tour operator's pocket. Like, it's just genuinely insane to me how comfortable people have gotten in posting on this app to the point where they can say loud and proud that one of their favorite parts of their vacation was touring a slum.
This is what I wish I knew before going to India. Even though you'll probably fly into Delhi, don't hang out there. It's
Okay, my only question. What is the point of highlighting the slum store, or what is the point of even having a slum store? Is it just an exercise in validating the Western world's opinion and approach towards India, that the place is dirty, the place is trash ridden? Oh yeah, they may have some pockets of beauty, but look at this place, it is so dirty. Is that the purpose of this exercise, or is the purpose to show the world that, okay, look at these people, they are living in so much poverty, and look at me, I get to travel, I get to stay in these kind of beautiful places, and then I still found in myself to go and look at these people living in poverty. What again is the purpose of the slum store and highlighting the slum store?
tour experiences. I did a slums tour and a cooking class in Mumbai, and both of the hosts were extremely
Be so for real right now. A slums tour and a cooking class. The people who live in slums, their housing situation is not a tour. It's not something you go and see on tour as a tourist destination along with your cooking classes and your shopping trip. Do people really need to explain that to you, lady? That's weird. It's really weird. Was gonna say I'm sorry, but I'm not sorry. That's weird what you did and the way you posted. I don't know. The whole tone of the video honestly felt icky. The whole tone did. Just I would say go back and watch it, but don't even give her the traffic, honestly, because that's despicable, lady. Do better. Do better.
I did a slums tour and a cooking class in Mumbai.
It's really shocking to hear the terms slums tour and cooking class in the same breath, as if they're somehow equal in some way. And what this made me think of is the story I'll never forget that a documentary photographer told to us in college when he came to visit. His name is Mark Asnan, and he grew up in Brooklyn, pre-gentrified Brooklyn in the 60s and 70s. And he did a lot of documentary projects there in the 80s, early 90s. And, tough neighborhoods, but he had relationships with these people. He got to know them. He spent time with them. You cannot take pictures this close without people knowing who you are. You're going to get yourself in trouble really quickly. So anyways, he had someone who had seen his photos and wanted to see the neighborhood. They asked if he would drive them through the neighborhood. And he said, that's fine, but on one condition: you're not allowed to take any photos out of the windows. This is not a zoo. We're not going on a safari. Like, these are people living their lives. And if I see you pick up your camera while we're in the car, I'm kicking you out and you're walking home. And it just really stuck with me that, as photographers, as now, content creators, it didn't exist then, obviously, we have to think about people being people. These are real people. And especially with photography and videography, even more than something that's interpretive, like painting, where there's a lot of room for the artist's interpretation, like, we're representing real people. We have to treat them with respect and dignity. Like, everything that you have going on inside your head and your life and your experiences, every single person has that same level of stuff. And so the respect has to be there to create good documentary photography, street photography, whatever it is that you're making. If you want to tell a story, do it respectfully. This original person was not presenting this in a respectful way.
Experiences were my favorite tour experiences. I did a slums tour and a cooking class.
This girl is already getting a lot of hate, but ignorance while traveling makes me so angry because if you have the privilege to be able to travel, then I feel like you should have the responsibility to at least do a little bit of homework. And while I don't think this girl is completely to blame because there are a lot of big travel influencers that do extreme tourism, as in visiting highly impoverished communities or even war zones, to the point where they have to hire militia or bodyguards just to say that they've been to a place. But I think there's two types of ways you can go about doing this type of tourism. You can choose a tour operator where the proceeds go towards the community and use the tour as a time to deepen your empathy and compassion. And then you get the types of people that go on these tours and come out the other end saying, I learned what true happiness was from these people that had nothing. But yeah, there's other areas of the world where slum tourism is also popular, like Medellin, Colombia, Rio de Janeiro. And if you do go to those places and you want to see the favela, or really any country that is still developing or third world, do a little research first. Make sure you're choosing tour operators that are helping the community. Eat at locally owned places, not chain restaurants, and try to choose some hotels that are locally owned or at least owned by someone who is from that country and not just a huge outside corporation.
Favorite tour experiences, I did a slums tour and
There's a fine line between wanting to learn about a local population and treating people like they're animals in a zoo. If you are paying money to go see people living in poverty, you have to question that at some point, right? How out of touch do you have to be? This is a perfect example that travel doesn't make you culturally sensitive by default. You can travel the whole world and still have a patronizing mentality. You can travel the whole world and still exoticize other people and interact with them as if they exist for your entertainment.
What do you guys think about this influencer's video, and what do you think about what the people have to say about her video? Because I saw some people saying people are overreacting, and some people are as well talking about how tone deaf it is and how she did not do it in a respectful way. Because in the video she just mentioned that for like few seconds, and then mentioned that she did a cooking class as well in Mumbai, and then she mentioned that that is one of the most interesting parts of our trip. So a lot of people are saying, so what are you like, what do you mean with your video? If you want to do something, if you really want to like bring out the fact that there are so many people in that slum suffering, you can as well just do it well, instead of saying I did a slum tour and as well a cooking class in the same sentence. When I came across this video and I started to watch those stitches, one of the things that came to my head was just when these white people will travel to some African countries, and then they will go to the village to go and find one person or the kids that have not eaten to post, and maybe some will even put up donations that will never go to these people and just make money off of them, like form like a savior, like a form of a savior. You guys already know what I mean. When these white people will go to Africa and the only places they want to visit is the places where these kids are suffering, and form like they are there to come and save them, like they are savior and stuff like that. That was the image that came to my head. But I would like to hear what you guys think, because there was another creator talking about how people are taking it too far. What do you think about her video? Do you think she took it too far, or do you think people are even the one reaching? I get the fact that it can be so triggered, especially on social media, where people just do anything for clout and the views and just to get money off of it. So I get that part, but let me know your thoughts in the comment section. Thank you all so much for joining. And if you have not subscribed, please subscribe before you go and turn your bell notification on. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye, and I love you.